I was driving my daughter to volleyball when my wife's phone, left in the glove box, connected to my car. A call came through. No contact name, just the initial M. Before I could reach for the reject button, the line clicked open through the speakers. Then I heard it. Okay, she's on her way to practice. I'll be home in 20. We'll have the house to ourselves, babe. A pause. Then, whispering, God, I miss you. This time, I want it to be all night. You, my real soulmate. I didn't say a word, didn't flinch, but my 14-year-old daughter in the passenger seat, she heard it too. Her eyes didn't move, but I saw her throat tighten. I pulled into a gas station and told her to go grab a Gatorade. Said I had to check a work email. She nodded. Quiet. Scared. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel like it was the only thing keeping me from coming apart. I wanted to scream, punch the dashboard, slam her phone against the asphalt. Instead, I sat still. Every muscle in my body locked down, while the word soulmate burned through my chest like acid. My name is Chris Taylor. I'm 42, married 17 years. One kid, one mortgage, one life I thought I understood. Lauren's a sixth-grade teacher. We met young, built everything from scratch. I thought we were solid. But as I sat there in the car, engine humming, Bluetooth connection still active, I realized something awful. She was planning this. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't some flirty text. This was deeper, premeditated, hidden in plain sight. I didn't confront her that night. She came home, late from a staff meeting, kissed my cheek, and asked what Emma wanted for dinner. She had no idea what we'd heard. No idea her voice had betrayed her in surround sound, in her daughter's ears. I made pasta. She acted normal. Emma barely touched her food. The house felt radioactive. 3 nights later, I couldn't hold back. I opened her laptop while she was in the shower. Not even locked. Inside her desktop folder labeled Parent Night Slides, I found a subfolder called Tulum. At first I thought, maybe it's a school trip. Maybe I'm overthinking. Then I opened the PDF. Beachfront Resort. King Suite. 7 nights. 2 guests. Dates? 2 weeks from now. Same week she told me she'd be in Sacramento at a district leadership conference. My name wasn't on the reservation, but his was. Marcus Young. M. The man on the call. Her real soulmate. That night, over coffee, I finally broke the silence. I waited until Emma had gone to bed. The house was quiet. I sat at the kitchen table and said, Emma heard your call. The one in the car. Lauren froze, cup halfway to her lips. What call? I stared at her. The one where you told someone he was your real soulmate. That you'd have the house to yourselves. That you missed him. Silence. You left your phone in the glove box. Bluetooth picked it up. Her face went pale. No lies. No outrage. Just shock. I let it hang in the air. Then I said, Emma knows now. And so do I. She whispered, It's complicated. No, I said. It's actually really simple. She tried to speak again, but I cut her off. You weren't talking to me. And now your daughter knows exactly what kind of person her mother is. She left the kitchen without another word. I sat there alone, staring at her untouched coffee mug, shaking with a kind of fury I'd never felt before. Not loud, not explosive. Just quiet and precise. Over the next few days, she barely spoke to me. She stopped trying to cover her tracks. I found her suitcases hidden behind the bikes in the garage. Saw her Google searches for Tulum nightlife and how to get a new passport with old name. She wasn't planning to confess. She was planning an exit. One where she'd get to leave clean, no mess, no guilt. Maybe blame me for growing distant. Tell our friends we drifted. Spin some poetic version of personal growth and heartbreak. But she didn't know what I knew. And more importantly, she didn't know what I was already doing. She thought she'd already won. That the hard part was over. That she'd escape with her little beach fantasy and the title of brave woman reclaiming her life. But the thing is, she doesn't get to walk out on her terms. Because she's already part of my plan. One she won't see until it's far, far too late. After that night in the kitchen, I stopped asking questions. Stopped analyzing, stopped reacting. I became something else entirely. A man watching his life end from the outside. Too steady, too still, too silent to be harmless. Lauren took that silence as surrender. She started moving around the house like someone granted freedom after a long sentence. She stopped pretending. The shift was subtle at first. Perfume that hadn't been used in years, lipstick shades that didn't match the woman I married. But it escalated quickly. The second week after the Bluetooth call, I found a small bag from a men's boutique store in the passenger seat of her car. I didn't open it right away. But later that night, when she was showering, I saw the receipt left in her purse. A braided leather bracelet with a silver clasp. Engraved. To M. Always. I stared at the slip of paper for a long time, like it might rewrite itself. She had stopped hiding it. That's when I understood. Lauren wasn't afraid of getting caught. She was certain I wouldn't do anything. That I'd let her walk. That I was too soft, too loyal, too stunned to fight. She had no idea who she was actually married to. I started deleting myself one piece at a time. I pulled down my Facebook account, deactivated our shared Google Calendar, disconnected our iCloud family sharing. No explanation. No fight. I didn't want her looking over my shoulder when the real work started. I let her think I was fading out of the marriage like a man nursing a broken heart. But I wasn't disappearing. I was repositioning. One night, around 9:30, I passed by Emma's room on my way to grab a charger. The door was open just a crack, light spilling out onto the hallway carpet. I froze when I heard Lauren's voice inside. Soft. Affectionate. Guilty. I'll be thinking of you the whole time. Even when I'm with her. Emma didn't say anything, but I could see her silhouette sitting up in bed, shoulders tight. I miss you already, Lauren whispered into her phone, and then added, I'll call you when she's asleep. She didn't know I was there. But Emma saw me. We locked eyes through the crack in the door. She looked away first. Lauren walked out 2 seconds later, phone clutched to her chest like it was keeping her warm. She nearly bumped into me in the hallway. Didn't see you, she said, startled. I looked at her, then past her. I was just getting my charger. She gave a tight smile and slipped past me, eyes down. Behind her, Emma closed her bedroom door with a quiet, deliberate click. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in the dark and listened to Lauren snore gently beside me, dreaming her way into a life she hadn't earned. The next morning, I sent a message to someone I hadn't spoken to in 3 years. Daniel. He was my old business partner from when I ran back-end logistics consulting for independent contractors, pre-HVAC days. We'd parted ways after he started dealing in riskier digital territory. Data scraping, passive surveillance, social manipulation. He replied instantly, said he could meet. We sat outside a forgotten coffee spot, just off the 805. Same guy, different tension. I need to know what she's planning. Not just what I've seen, everything. Bank records, devices, texts, travel. If it's digital, I want a copy of it. Daniel didn't flinch, just sipped his black coffee like we were discussing football. You want to track her? No. I want to be 10 steps ahead of her. He tapped his fingers against the table, then looked at me for a long time. You sure you're ready for that kind of clarity? I didn't blink. What I'm not ready for is losing to someone this careless. He leaned back, smiled a little. All right then, but you don't get to pull back once it starts. This isn't a preview, Chris. It's full send. I'm already in. Daniel nodded, then stood up and slid a napkin across the table with a number and 3 letters scrawled in ink. Set up the access tonight. I'll ping you when it's done. I picked up the napkin. He paused. You won't be the one who hits first. I looked up. But you'll be the last one standing, he said, then walked away. Lauren's confidence bloomed over the next 2 weeks. I watched her move like she'd been unshackled. I came home one night to find all the framed family photos from our hallway removed. In their place were minimalist art prints she claimed looked cleaner. When I asked where the old photos went, she just shrugged and said she boxed them for Emma's college stuff. Except Emma was only a sophomore. The PDA fundraiser was the first public crack. Lauren wore a new dress, form-fitting, black satin with an open back, and high heels she hadn't touched since our 10th anniversary. At the event, she glowed under the lights, laughing harder than she needed to, touching people's arms when she talked, making eye contact longer than polite. I stayed quiet, sipping a beer in the corner while Emma ran concessions with her friends. Halfway through the evening, I overheard 2 moms talking near the punch table. One of them, a woman named Melissa whose kid was in Emma's math class, leaned over to the other and whispered just loud enough. You and Chris seem separate tonight. New chapter? Lauren laughed, but her shoulders stiffened for a split second. Then she smiled and said, "You know how it is." But when she walked away, she went straight to the bathroom. She came back 10 minutes later, eyes slightly red. Makeup freshened. I didn't say a word. Emma asked to leave early. I handed her the keys and said I'd walk home. The next morning, Emma confronted me. She waited until Lauren left for work, then met me in the kitchen with her arms crossed, voice tight. "Why are you letting her act like nothing's wrong?" I looked up from my coffee, heart sinking. "I'm not letting her do anything. She calls that guy while I'm in the next room. She treats you like a roommate. You don't even argue. It's like you're pretending this isn't happening." I took a long breath, then set my mug down. "Emma, the hardest thing in the world is pretending you don't see something you'll never forget." She blinked. That wasn't the answer she expected. "Sometimes doing nothing is the smartest thing a person can do," I said. "Because the moment you move too soon, you lose everything." Emma didn't speak for a while. Then she nodded and quietly left the room. That conversation cut deeper than anything Lauren had done. Because now I had a second responsibility. I couldn't just survive this. I had to make sure my daughter came out the other side knowing her father had a backbone. Just not the kind you have to swing around to prove you're alive. Later that week, I went into Lauren's office to leave a tax form on her desk. I wasn't snooping. Not then. But as I turned to leave, a photo strip fell out from under a folder marked Literacy Night Planning. It was the two of them, Lauren and Marcus, in one of those cheap photo booths with sequins in the background and heart filters on the border. April, same month as that conference. First frame, smiling. Second, kissing. Third, Lauren holding up a peace sign while Marcus pretended to bite her neck. I didn't take the photo. I didn't burn it. I just picked it up, slid it back into the folder, and walked out like I'd never seen it. Because I wasn't the one caught off guard anymore. That night, while Lauren lay in bed messaging someone, probably him, I sat in the living room, laptop open, phone next to me. Daniel's message came in at 11:42 p.m. Files syncing. You'll have everything by morning. Start with the Dropbox folder labeled Mirror. I closed my laptop and stared at the blank TV screen in front of me. My reflection stared back, calm and quiet and ready. Lauren giggled in the bedroom, fingers still tapping on her screen. She thought she was leaving on her terms. She thought she was finally free. But what she didn't know was this. I already had what I needed. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, the first domino would fall. It started with whispers, side glances, unreturned texts, nothing loud enough to call real. But Lauren could feel it. She didn't say anything to me, of course. She still played her part, cooking like a mom, dressing like a trophy, smiling like a woman in control. But something had shifted. I could see it in the way her phone stayed face up on the counter now, always at a slight angle, as if she were waiting for bad news to light up the screen. And it did. Not all at once. That would have been too kind. No, it came in tremors. The kind of chaos that builds slow enough to give you false hope, then fast enough to make you question your own memory of stability. It all came to a head the morning she got the email from the school board. She was sitting at the dining table, her second cup of coffee still steaming, when she clicked something on her laptop and went dead still. I watched from the kitchen. She didn't blink. Her mouth opened slightly, not in shock, but in disbelief, like the screen was lying to her. She clicked again, then again. Her fingers started moving faster, scrolling, searching, failing to find whatever she thought would save her. Then the color drained from her face. "Jesus Christ," she muttered. I rinsed out my mug slowly. "Everything all right?" She flinched, as if she'd forgotten I was there. "It's work. It's nothing." She closed the laptop like it might bite her if she looked at it again. But later that night, I saw the letter printed and folded on her desk. It was from the district's Human Resources Department. A formal notice of investigation. The accusation: ethically compromising communication with a non-employee individual during school hours, including digital exchanges suggestive in nature, on a device funded by district resources. Someone had forwarded screenshots. Someone had reported her. She probably thought it was a jealous parent, or a fellow teacher aiming for her department chair. She'd never suspect the real source had never stepped foot in her school building. She stopped sleeping well after that. I could hear her footsteps pacing the hall at 2 a.m., light from her phone flickering under the bathroom door. She called Marcus 4 times that night. I know because the call log showed for no answer entries within 30 minutes. He wasn't picking up. That was the first time she cried. Not sobbing, not a breakdown, just a slow, bitter sort of leak. The kind that happens when the cracks get too deep to seal. The next morning, I dropped Emma off at school. As she was climbing out of the car, she turned back and said, "I don't think she's coming back." I blinked. "What do you mean?" She keeps looking at me like she's already somewhere else. Then she shut the door before I could say anything. She wasn't angry, just tired. Emma had aged 10 years in the last few weeks, not in looks, but in silence. That one sentence haunted me more than anything Lauren ever did. I pulled over 2 blocks later and sat there, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me tethered to the planet. My hands shook. My jaw clenched. I kept thinking about the first time Lauren held Emma, the way her voice softened around her, the way she once swore she'd never let anything break our family. Then I breathed, slow and deep, until the feeling passed. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was mourning something that had died long before the Bluetooth call. That afternoon, Lauren snapped. Not at me, not directly, but at Emma. Over laundry. Emma had left a clean load in the dryer. Lauren pulled it out and tossed it onto the couch. Emma walked in, earbuds in, and Lauren just exploded. "You can't just start something and expect everyone else to clean up after you, Emma. It's not your father's job, and it's not mine either." The room froze. Emma looked at her, one eyebrow raised, then said, "Okay," like she was speaking to a stranger in line at the DMV. Then she walked to her room and shut the door quietly. Lauren's hands trembled as she picked up a towel and folded it like nothing had happened. Later that night, I heard her leave a voicemail for someone, probably her coworker Lisa. "I don't know what's happening. Everything's upside down. Marcus is ghosting me. My phone crashed twice. My emails keep bouncing back. It's like someone's screwing with my whole life. And Chris just watches me. Like he's waiting for something." She paused. "I don't know what's real anymore." Her second collapse came 2 days later. I was walking into the kitchen when I saw her sitting at the counter, laptop open, head in her hands. She'd been on hold with the bank for nearly 40 minutes. I could hear the looped piano music playing through her earbuds. When someone finally answered, her tone switched immediately. "Yes. Hi. No. I'm not disputing a charge. I'm saying these charges aren't mine at all. No, I didn't authorize a hotel booking under the name Marcus Ruiz. That's not even my account number. No, listen, she stopped. Her face went white. "What do you mean I'm no longer listed as the primary?" I turned the faucet on behind me, letting the sound of running water mask my expression. She hung up 10 minutes later, barely holding it together. She opened her phone banking app. Error message. Tried again. Then again. Locked out. She stared at her screen for a long time, then finally asked, "Do you know anything about Chase freezing joint accounts without notifying both parties?" I shrugged. If someone flags suspicious activity, they don't have to. She nodded slowly, eyes distant. "You okay?" She didn't answer. I turned and walked out. She didn't move. Emma made it worse without even trying. That night, Lauren posted another one of her image-curated Facebook status updates. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters start after the most painful endings. Hashtag fresh start, hashtag Tulumbound. 15 minutes later, the post was gone. I asked Emma about it. She didn't lie. She looked over and saw me reading it, she said. I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. And that was enough. The night before she was supposed to fly out, she was on the phone again, low voice, shaking hands. I don't know if I'm being set up, but my phone's acting weird. The bank's frozen. HR wants a meeting the week I'm gone. Marcus won't call me back. I feel like I'm in a nightmare. She paused. No, I can't cancel now. I need to leave. I need this to work. Everything else is already falling apart. Another pause. I don't know if he knows. But if he does, he's not going to let it go quietly. She was right about that. The next morning, Lauren wheeled her suitcase down the stairs, dressed like a woman heading to her new life. But as she reached for the front door, her phone rang. She froze mid-step. Unknown caller, the screen read. She answered. "Miss Taylor? This is Matthew Drake with the Department of Ethics at the San Diego Unified School District. I need to inform you that your case has moved into the formal review process." Due to the sensitive nature of the documentation received, including romantic communications and financial disclosures, we are recommending immediate administrative leave pending resolution. I couldn't hear the rest, but I didn't need to. Her hand dropped to her side. The phone slipped from her grip, landing with a soft thud on the carpet. For the first time in weeks, she looked right at me. And I looked back. Not angry, not smug, just ready. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. Then she turned slowly, walked out the door, and disappeared into the back seat of the Uber she'd called 20 minutes earlier, when she still thought she was flying toward freedom. I waited 5 minutes, then walked upstairs, opened my laptop, and typed in the credentials Daniel had sent me 3 weeks ago. The Dropbox folder loaded. Every document, every email chain, every screenshot, every file Marcus thought he'd deleted, every line Lauren thought she could write in secret, all synced, all archived, all sent from an anonymous account to her employer, her bank, and her attorney. The match had been struck. Now all that was left was the detonation. She thought she'd escaped the blast. She thought Mexico would be the soft reset she needed, sunrises on the beach, hand-holding in town markets, Instagram captions about healing. But by the time her plane touched down, the wreckage had already started smoldering behind her. The first hit came midweek. A friend texted her a link to a PDA Facebook thread that had exploded overnight. It wasn't just gossip. It was screenshots, paragraphs, blurred photos, and speculation. One of the moms had posted a cropped image of Lauren and Marcus from a volunteer dinner 2 months back. Nothing explicit, but her hand was clearly on his. The caption read, "Is this our Lauren? Anyone else getting weird vibes lately?" Within hours, the comments stacked high. Explains the sudden mood swings. My kid said she's been missing class a lot lately. Wow, I thought she was one of the good ones. The school board acted quickly after that. On the morning of what was supposed to be her 3rd day in Tulum, Lauren received a call from the district superintendent's office. She didn't answer the first time, or the second, but the third came with a voicemail, clipped, formal, and final. Due to the serious nature of the documentation received, including digital correspondence and time-stamped messaging during instructional hours, your contract is under immediate administrative review. Until further notice, you are not to return to campus. She tried to call back. No answer. By Thursday, her school login was deactivated. On Friday morning, she flew home. But no one was waiting for her this time. She showed up at the school anyway. She told security it was a misunderstanding. She said she needed to grab personal materials. She said she'd talk to the principal directly. But rules are rules. 2 district staff members met her at the front gate. One handed her a small, sealed envelope with her name printed in bold letters. The other escorted her back to the parking lot as parents dropped off their kids just a few feet away. Lauren tried to keep her chin up, but her shoulders told a different story. Emma saw the whole thing from inside my car. She didn't say a word, but she looked down, then out the window like she didn't know the woman anymore. I said nothing, just drove away. She didn't come home that night, didn't text, didn't ask about Emma, didn't send a single message explaining anything. I didn't need to wonder where she was. She was at Marcus's apartment. But Marcus wasn't, because Marcus was already in the wind. She found that out for herself when his landlord, a chatty, nosy older man named Ron, opened the door and said, "Oh, you're that one. Sorry, sweetheart. He moved out last week. Didn't even take his plants." She drove home after that, and that's when the knock came on my door. I opened it slowly, letting her see my face before I said a word. She stood there, hair pulled back in a sloppy bun, no makeup, hoodie zipped to her chin, like the version of herself I hadn't seen since college. Except this one looked hollow. "You win," she said, arms at her sides. I said nothing. She stepped inside without asking. "I don't know how you did it," she said, voice trembling. "But everything's gone. My job. Marcus. My bank accounts are frozen. I got a call from a lawyer I've never even met asking if I'm prepared to respond to formal inquiries. And I swear to God, Chris, if you don't tell me what you did." I held up one hand. "You said you wanted a clean break," I said calmly. "Now you have one." She stared at me like she didn't recognize who I was anymore. "This isn't you," she said, shaking her head. "You were always kind, even when I didn't deserve it." I looked at her flatly. "I was kind because I thought you loved me. Turns out, I was just an idiot with good manners. Her mouth twitched. She tried one more card. Emma will hate you for this. I tilted my head. No. She saw through you long before I did. And for the first time, I watched something break behind her eyes, something brittle and permanent. She turned like she might bolt, then stopped at the door. Was it all fake? The whole time? I waited a long beat. No, but you made it that way. After she left, I opened my laptop one last time. There, sitting at the top of the inbox, was the final scheduled email. Daniel had helped me queue it 3 weeks earlier. It was set to auto-send at 7:45 a.m. the morning Lauren touched down in Mexico. The recipient? Marcus's real girlfriend. The one in Phoenix. The email included chat logs, photos, flight confirmations, even the Airbnb listing Marcus had booked under a fake name. We hadn't needed to bribe her. She sent Lauren screenshots within an hour. I watched it happen in real time. 2 weeks passed. Lauren moved into a short-term rental in a bland complex across town. She tried emailing the school board. Once, then twice. The second was marked as received, but pending legal counsel. Her license was placed under review. She wasn't fired yet, but she wouldn't be rehired. She tried reaching out to her old friend circle. Nobody responded. The group chat had gone silent. Eventually, she stopped trying. On a warm Saturday afternoon, Emma and I sat on the back porch, watching the sun drop low behind the neighbor's tree line. The breeze was soft, the world quiet again. She looked over and said, "Do you think she'll ever come back?" I shrugged slowly. Not as the person we knew. Emma nodded. She let that hang for a minute, then added, "I'm glad you waited." I turned my head, surprised. Waited for what? For her to show us who she really was. She stood, picked up her empty glass, and walked inside, leaving the screen door open behind her. People always ask me how I kept my cool, how I didn't snap, how I didn't throw her out the second I knew. I tell them the truth. She wanted a clean escape. I gave her a clean ending.